Wow, 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 wee, wow, look at this. Yeah. I've got new pedals, baby, and these are the Simagic P1000s, because 999 is not enough. We can talk about all these add-ons, and it can even shake it up, you know. Oh, I'm excited. Let's look. Okay guys, so I've been using these Simagic P1000s for more than a month now, and these are the topics that we will be discussing. And another bit to come. Okay, feel welcome to skip to any of them bits. Let's get into it. Okay, so the price. Now, I've seen these for sale at about 15 different websites, and all the prices vary a slight bit. So really shop around. It depends from which retailer you buy from or where you are in the world. So yeah, just have a look. The prices I'm going to give you is in American dollars, okay, and it's from the Simagic's website. So that's where I got my prices from. I might have paid something slight bit different, but it's very similar. Anyway, okay, this pedal's here. It's going to cost you $529. If you do want the inverted ones, the ones that come from the top down, and just pedals that are upside down, you're going to pay a bit more. They're going to be $649. Okay, if you want this light bar at the bottom of your heel rest, that is an extra $40. And then this heel plate, if you prefer not to have this red heel plate and you want a heel plate that lights up and do little magic things, it's going to be $77. For your shakers, I think they call it haptic feedback something, but I'm calling them shakers. These shakers are $72 each, and you can buy for one pedal, you can buy for two or for three. That's dependent on yourself. Now, it's fantastic that this is a modular system and you don't need to buy everything at once. I really like that, and I wish more companies would start doing it, because it means you can lay your initial investment into your pedals, and as you acquire money or have a need for something, you can add it on. I myself am a sucker for an LED, as you know, but not everybody is. Not everybody is going to want to pay for these LED strips. So it is fantastic that they give you the option to not have it and save yourself money. So very good job, Simagic. Bonus note, there is one thing that I know they've yet to release, which is a hydraulic brake system, which I would be really interested in. I have no idea how much that cost. Sorry for interrupting. Yes, all the boxes and everything has disappeared. It is now actually a month later after filming the prices, and they have released the price, and it is available to buy the hydraulic system. It's going to cost you $199. Okay, so there you go. The big but that you see in my thumbnail is to do with the brake system. So stay tuned and you'll see what my big problem is with the brakes, and that actually can be fixed by spending $199 on the hydraulic system. See you in a sec. Let's carry on with the video. Listen, obviously looks are subjective. What I think looks wow, you might not like. It's just the way of the world. So anyway, what do I think of these pedals? I love the pedal faces. I love the way they feel. I think it's the perfect in between. It's not too smooth. Like these here, I think are too smooth. And then if you know, like the ASETEK ones, the big circles that are like cheese graters, they too hard. So these here, in my opinion, are perfect, and I think the pedal faces look very nice. However, the whole pedal set is just black, and especially if you don't have these shakers on the back. It's even blacker because the shakers actually give you this little bit of red at the back that you know, it's just a bit of contrast. Now as for the light, as you can see, you know, there's a lot of colors. You can pick a solid color, you can have a rainbow color. It does add a little bit of finesse to the pedal set. However, I want you to keep in mind, whenever you're sitting at the rig, your feet will be blocking most of these lights, so it's not that you would see it. As for the light at the bottom, unless it is something directly underneath it, like the table here, and you mounting it, the way you're mounting it, unless it's maybe a profile or floor underneath, you're not going to see this light. It's not that strong of light. You can see on the table here how the light just disappears. Other than that, I personally think this pedal plate that comes with it, the big red one, in my opinion, just looks amazing. I think it looks better than this black. Now, I have used these pedals for a good month or so, and one thing I have to say, this is like a glass. You can see it makes little smudges when I touch it. However, there's no scratches on it whatsoever. I actually thought that my heel and my shoes and stuff would start to scratch this glass over here, but it has not. There's not a single scratch on it. Some smudge marks from my fingers now, but overall it kept up really well. So yeah, when I mount these and I've got them set in my rig, I just think they disappear a little bit because my whole rig is black, and then this is kind of all black, so it just kind of mellows in with the rest of the, you know, the rig. So yeah, there's nothing that's like, this looks amazing, but there's nothing wrong with it either, you know. In fact, this is the more stealthy look, might just be up your alley. So the build quality of this is all metal construction. Everything feels nice. I love the feel of the pedal faces. I can tell even this light bar here, when you pick it up, it's heavy, it's well made. Everything on here, I have to say, I can tell it's going to last a good few years, if not 10 years, and that's exactly what you want. Now, Simagic has done their own in-house testing. I'll show you here a little clip, and they've actually pushed these pedals to the max for 200,000 pushes. And yeah, it sounds like a lot, and I think it's a bit of a marketing gimmick, because any heavy user, someone who does, I would say, 450 races a year, if you take practice session, qualifying, and then the race, you're talking between 350 and 500, and you're going to get to the 200,000 mark, no problem. So I would have liked to see that figure a little bit bigger, and it would have made me feel a lot more confident about the, you know, how long these pedals will last. However, one thing I have to say is, on all the owners group of Simagic, I've not seen any issues regarding quality or things breaking, and it's been a good month. Normally when there's new products on the market, there's always a guy here and there that says, I got my pedals, I used it for a week and the whole pedal fell apart. You know, there's always that one guy, but I've not seen any of it. Maybe I've missed it, but I don't think so. So that is a good sign, you know. So overall, everything from the clutch to the brake and the throttle here, I can just tell everything was made nice. The board here at the bottom, solid. You can just tell once you mount this properly, it's going to be a solid set of pedals for you for a long time to come, and you're going to enjoy this investment. Well built, well done, Simagic. So, being a modular system, you can add on to this, and I'm a big fan of that, because it means you can buy a set of pedals and you don't have to buy everything at once. You don't need to buy the lights if you don't want the lights, and that way they can reduce the cost of the overall pedals so that more people can afford them, which I think is fantastic. However, what I do want you to keep in mind is, as fantastic as it is, it's also kind of a double-edged sword, because once you spend all the money to get all these bells and whistles, really then you just could have bought a better set of pedals. So keep that in mind. In my opinion, if you are spending the money just to buy everything at once, I would say rather look elsewhere. If you just want to buy yourself a nice set of pedals, then go ahead, and you know, as you grow or as you have a need for something, you can just add on to it. That's a nice thing about a modular system. Now, these shakers here, I can highly recommend you get yourself one for the brake anyway. That's the one that I use the most. I spent most of my time in iRacing, so this shaker here was completely useless to me. The telemetry does not get sent to this shaker here for traction control. If you're driving a sim like ACC or something where this is a function that you can use, I would say it might be invaluable to you. For me, knowing when the ABS kicked in, I mean, rather than just seeing a little light flashing on your dash, is wow. You know, it is the single thing about these pedals I will miss the most when I start testing these new SIMLABS pedals is the shaker here on the brake pedal to tell me when ABS is actually assisting me. And I do believe, and I'm not just saying it, I do believe that it will make a lot of sim races actually better races, because the understanding of just knowing that ABS is there and is helping me right now, I might be too heavy on the brakes, is a big thing, you know, and that's something that visually you cannot compare it to actually feeling it in your foot. Now I've got these shakers set to 25%, and honestly that is plenty. I felt every single vibration. As you can see, that is set to 100, so obviously it's overkill. I doubt you're going to be running it on 100. You're probably going to put it on 50 or 30 or whatever, but 100%. But I know I'm going to be feeling the haptic feedback, as they call it. It is, I mean, it's crazy. It's that little shaker. It does a lot of shaking. And that brings me on to my next point. If you are in a situation where you might not be able to race because you need it to be soft, these shakers are really loud, okay? Once or twice my wife has pointed out to me or tapped me on the shoulder and said, listen, this is making too much noise. Especially if I would say if you've got this running at even 30 or 25% like what I am, you would still hear it in the next room. Keep that in mind. However, very nice, in the software you can just switch it off. So when I was driving after, like now, when it's like midnight and I can't make an awful lot of noise, I just go in the settings and I switch it off. And then I do feel like I'm missing out a little bit. However, the next morning when it's daytime and I can make as much noise as I want, I just switch them on again. So it's not that you have to completely exclude and not buy this because it is noisy. Okay, so those are the shakers. As for the shaker on the clutch, this is something that I don't really think you need at all, to be honest. It gives you a very short zzzt when you get to the bite point. You're talking about a second, just zzzt. And yeah, you know, if you maybe use a clutch on a daily basis, you know, it might be nice to have. However, I would say give that a miss. Rather put that money towards you know, the hydraulics, to getting yourself a hydraulic system here in the back. Anyway, let's look at the lights. So the light bar here in the front, it obviously adds a nice touch and a little bit of finesse to your pedals, especially cosmetically. And do you know what? That's all they are. They are cosmetic. Don't be fooled by thinking like, and I promise you, I was fooled. I was like, in my previous review of the ASETEK pedals, I said, I wish ASETEK can incorporate their light bar to, you know, tell you when ABS is active, or, you know, tell you when traction control is active and you're losing traction. But do you know what? After using these pedals, I now realize that is really just a gimmick. Because once you have your feet on here, and I'll show you a clip, you see very, very little of this light bar over here. And your peripheral vision down there, you're looking at the screens here. You are not looking at your feet. So when that thing even starts and it flashes red, honestly, I don't see it. I really do not see it. So, and because I don't see it, I can't make use of it. So, the lights, in my opinion, just cosmetic. Now, this, like I said, looks nice, but in my opinion, I actually prefer the look of this. I think, like I said, I just think this red adds a bit, you know, a bit of contrast, just looks nice. And when you switch off your computer, this also switches off, so then it's just kind of just black. Anyway, the light underneath here, this light here, in my opinion, it's inexpensive. So if you want to buy it, buy it. But it's definitely something you don't need, and you're not going to see that. If you can't see this flashing, I guarantee you're not going to see that flashing. So that's the lights, okay? Other add-ons that I don't have, but you can buy if you need it, is inverted. You can have these pedals inverted, and you can buy the frame for it. Even if you opted to start with, like I do, with just the set of pedals, but you later decide, oh, I want to go inverted, then you can do so. You can upgrade and you can buy yourself a frame, and you can remove these and you can mount them upside down. Now, one thing to keep in mind is once you mount it upside down, this light bar here, you can't have any use of it, and I don't think the bottom one either. Anyway, another thing that I don't have, and this is probably a thing that I would recommend getting the most. The only reason I am not getting it as of yet is because, you know, it costs a little bit of money, and that's a hydraulic cylinder. And as of now, I'm not 100% convinced that these are the pedals that I'll be keeping. So because of that, I kind of don't want to spend that extra money. Anyway, the hydraulic cylinder, from I've seen and what other users and YouTubers have described, is definitely a must-have accessory for these pedals. So when it comes to the add-ons, buy yourself a shaker for the brake pedal, in my opinion, and buy yourself the hydraulic cylinder. All the others are just, you know, cosmetic, in my opinion, unless obviously you want your pedals inverted. You might enjoy that a little bit more. Anyway, those are the add-ons. As with most pedals, you know, there's a lot of adjustments you can make to these pedals. I'm not going to show you and unscrew everything, because I'm trying to keep these videos short. It's just short and punchy. So I'm going to show you. There's face plates over here. You can undo and you can move them up or you can move them down. However, you can't move them left or right. The clutch pedal and the throttle, you can undo 4 bolts that hold them together on the base plate, and you can move them outwards. This is actually something I done straight away. You can see the gap in between my brake and my throttle is a lot more than what it is between the clutch and the brake. These two out of the box for myself was just a little bit too close to one another, so I took my my throttle and I moved it as far as I could to this side, and this is the biggest the gap would be. And yeah, that little bit just made all the difference for me with my big frog feet, and yeah, it was just a lot more comfortable to use. Sticking on these face plates, so Simagic has done it a little bit different. If you want to change the angle of these pedals, you don't actually move the whole arm forward and backwards like you would with other pedals. What you do is you undo these 2 bolts, and the whole pedal face just moves back and forth. What is very nice on the back, I'll give you a little close-up, there's these 5 lines, so you can adjust if you want all your pedals to align up, or, you know, just to tell you kind of where you are between the max and the minimum of you adjusting this pedal, which is very nice. Something that comes on all 3 of these pedals are actually, if you want to adjust the travel of the pedal, how far this moves back, you can actually have it. I'll see if I've got this loose still. Yeah, I actually do. So there is just a rod that keeps it from going further back, and you can reduce your pedal travel. So if it's, for example, then if I tighten this screw over here, this would be at its max travel. However, if I take my finger away now, you'll see, and I push further, it goes that extra centimeter. So it doesn't make a massive difference on the pedal travel, but yeah, within a centimeter you can adjust the travel of the pedal, which is really nice. On the clutch you get 3 different springs, okay, and it is, you know, soft, medium and hard, I suppose. And yeah, very very simple. Just to undo the screw on the back here, you push the pin out and you just take this new spring, put it in, and you exactly do the same back. It takes about a minute. It is a very nice and quick thing to do to adjust your clutch. As for the brake, it's a little bit more complicated. Not complicated at all, but you will have to undo a screw here, loosen this as much as you possibly can, and then there's this ball here on the back, and you simply just pull up, and look there, that is it loose, and then you get this cylinder. Now this cylinder is full of your elastomers. Out of the box it is fitted with this combination, the red, which is the hardest, followed by the blue, then there's the grey, and then you also get given an additional 2 grey ones, and you get given, I believe, 8 black ones. Now the black ones are the softest of them all. These here, they say, are to replicate a GT4 car, if I'm not mistaken. Now I will put the chart up here. You can see it's very nice. It's Simagic has actually told you, listen, if you want to replicate a Formula 1 car, make all these red. If you want to replicate a street car, make it all black. So it's very nice that they've actually done that for you. And yeah, adjusting it is as simple as that. Just screwing it on and then putting it back the same way. Just in, and let's see there, and push down. Simsalabim, Bob is your uncle. You are ready to race. So yeah, all the adjustments can be made very quickly. You might need a spanner here. They provide you with a spanner, and they provide you with an Allen key, everything you need to make every single adjustment on here. Okay, so yeah, as for adjustments, I think, you know, they can do pretty much what you need them to do. My driving experience in the last month, listen, I mean, wow. I had an amazing time. I had good races, I had bad races, that's just standard, you know, but I enjoyed these pedals a lot. And one thing I can assure you, regardless of my opinions in this review, anybody who buys these pedals are gonna enjoy them, and you're gonna have you're just gonna have fun racing, and that's what it's about anyway. Okay, let's get into it. I'm gonna do it pedal by pedal and just tell you about my experience using these pedals. As for the clutch, listen, the clutch is something I very rarely use. In fact, all my cars outside, I actually have a clutch in them. They're all manual, and yeah, I use it on a daily basis. However, in the sim racing itself, I just use the pedals on the steering wheel for clutch. I very rarely use a clutch. However, it's nice that you've got 3 different stiffnesses, or you know how hard you want it to be. And there's definitely, like most clutches nowadays, you get that where you push down and then all of a sudden it just kind of gives away, to give you that indication you're now at the bite point and the clutch is engaged. So feel wise and how the clutch operates, it feels very nice to me, and it feels like a clutch should feel. The vibrator on the back, like I said, you know, in my opinion, I think you could give it a miss. However, you can adjust the bite point in the software, and then whenever you engage your clutch, you get that short little buzz to tell you, okay, you're at the bite point, which, you know, for someone who uses it on a daily basis, it might be something you know, to look into for you. Anyway, let's go on to the throttle. For myself anyway, I thought the throttle is far too soft. This here is on its hardest setting at the moment, and there's only 2 settings. Even though there's 4 little bars on the side here, don't get fooled, it is actually just 2 settings you've got, you know, where the light and I guess stiff, but even the stiff is, I mean, look here, normally your legs are a lot stronger than what your arms would be, and for myself this is just too soft. Now saying that, after about 2 weeks of using it, I definitely got used to the throttle, and it didn't bother me nearly as much as what it did at the start, because it's amazing how you get used to things, you know, after using it for a period of time. You kind of just get used to it, and you know, my complaints kind of dwindled away when it came to the throttle the longer I used it. However, it would have been amazing if Simagic gave us an option, just like they do with the clutch, to be able to buy more springs, you know, and make this clutch a little bit stiffer for those who prefer a stiffer you know, throttle. A lot of people like an extra stiff throttle because, you know, they're too heavy footed, so their input to the throttle is kind of too rugged. And if you have a heavier throttle, you know, you almost become more smooth, you know. So anyway, that's just my opinion on the throttle. Other than that, it feels like a throttle should. The shaker on it, however, is not something that I could make much use of. But and it actually would have been nicer if I just got a vibrating sensation, you know, like as if like what you would get with a butt shaker for acceleration. You know, maybe it would have been nice the faster you're going, that this pedal would just go and gradually, as your speed increases, this throttle shaker would then, you know, just go as you're driving, kind of giving you a sensation of speed and acceleration, or you know, the RPMs maybe of the car would have been really nice. But that's something you cannot set on these on the shaker, and that's a pity. I would have actually liked that more so than I would actually, I think, with traction control. Anyway, moving on, because I'm babbling on. This is my kind of the biggest problem with these pedals, and I think it's kind of like, I cannot believe that Simagic actually sends these pedals out like this, because in my opinion, for the price you're paying out of the box, these pedals should not be doing this. What am I talking about? See that big butt I've got in my thumbnail? This is the big butt. The best thing for me to do is actually just show you, okay? Let's get into the sim, and let's load a pedal cam, and let's load the software, and I'll show you exactly what I am talking about. Hello guys, so quickly want to highlight just very quickly my biggest problem with these pedals. I want you to focus on my pedal cam, so yeah, you can see hello, and I want you to look at this brake force over here, the percentage, okay? We're going to set this to angle. Quite simply, angle is how far you push the pedal in. That translates to in the sim. If you push it in halfway, then the brake pressure in the sim is 50%. If you only push it in a quarter of the way, 25% travel, just like that, it'll be 25% braking force in the sim. So I'm going to try and push to 80%, and we're going to hold it there. So there's 80. And as you can see here, you know, I'm holding the brake there. Within a percentage or two, quite comfortably, I can hold it there for numerous seconds, okay? Now I want to go over to load cell, and this is where the problem occurs. I'm going to brake to 80%, and I'm not going to move my foot. I'm going to do exactly what I did there. I'm going to hold the brake and the same amount of pressure, and I want you to see, look at this percentage. How big of a drop. It goes from 80 to, let's have a look. So there I'm at 80, holding the pressure, and look at that. About a 25% drop. Now, sometimes it's as much as 30 in the space of 1.5 seconds. The first second you brake, you're already losing 20% pressure. So imagine you are in a car, and you've got a long braking zone coming up. And now you want to push down your pedal to 80%, and you want to hold that 80% brake pressure. It is not possible with these pedals. As soon as you get to 80%, without me moving my feet whatsoever, look how much of a percentage that drop. So, and I want you to understand, with load cell pedals that use rubbers and elastomers, it is very normal. There's always that little bit of play. It's normally a very normal 5%, even up to 10% is manageable. You know, if I'm braking up to 80% and then it dwindles down to 70% or 75%, even better, that is acceptable. However, this gap is just too big. And I do not know if it's because of the rubbers they are using. If you're using 8 smaller rubbers instead of 1 or 2 big ones, I do not know if it's the cylinder, or I do not know what causes this problem. I just know it's when you braking to your max brake pressure, the elastomers start to relax, and once they start to relax, that's when you get that little bit of bleed off on the brakes. And like I said, it's very normal for load cells that use elastomers to have a 5 to say between 5 and 10%. I would say 10% is even at the high end. However, 5, 6, 7% is very normal for you to brake to 80%. There we go. But you can see there, it is impossible for you to hold an 80% on this brake pedal. And that is I myself, I'm not a professional sim racer. I wouldn't consider myself a top 10% driver even, I've been doing sim racing a while, and I would say I'm just average, a bit above average for the amount of time I put into the sim. However, any person who takes this really seriously and maybe wants to be competitive, this gap here will just be too big for them to use a set of pedals like this. Now, you can fix this problem. However, it's going to cost you money. My final thoughts. What do I think about these Simagic P1000s? Listen, do you need to go and buy them today? Not yesterday, but today. Listen, just hold up and just hear me out. I think what Simagic has done with these shakers on the back is amazing. Now, I know it's not really new innovation. I know that there's other people years ago, 2-3 years ago, that's been putting shakers on the back of their pedals, but it's always been like a DIY project, and then also the fact that you have to drill holes. You need to know the ohms and the wattage and what amp to buy and what shaker to buy. It's all complicated. For the average Joe, this year is amazing that Simagic has rolled something out to the masses on the market, and it is just as simple as putting a wire into a hole. There you go, and putting 2 screws on the back here to attach a shaker to the pedal, and you've got software ready to go. Is amazing. I really love it. And like I said before, the thing I'm going to miss the most about these pedals when I'm testing other pedals is going to be this shaker on the brake pedal. I mean, actually just feeling when ABS is active, compared to just seeing a light flashing on your dash. I cannot put enough emphasis on, how big of a difference it is. And yeah, is it an active pedal set by Simucube? No, it's not. Will this scratch the itch? It might. Obviously, this is like 25% of the cost of a Simucube active pedal set, or well, one pedal, and you can get all the bells and whistles for that price. So yeah, this might just do you. Not everybody can remortgage their bloody house to go buy yourself a 2.5 grand pedal. I'm not saying pedals, because if you want all 3 of the Simucube ones, it'll cost you 6 bloody grand. So yeah, this year is a very nice alternative, and I think it's a step in the right direction for sim racing. I think in the near future, in a year from now, or in a year, 2 years from now, I don't even think 2 years, a year from now, I can guarantee you're going to see a lot more sim manufacturers incorporating shakers on the back of their pedals. I really do think it is great. Okay, what else? Listen, I think the brake, like that drop off I showed you, I think that should not happen. Out of the box, I expect better, okay? That drop-off of 20 to 30% is just too much, okay? For the price point of these, that should not be the case. You should not have to spend another 160 euros or 200 euros to buy something to resolve a problem. Because that is, in my opinion, a problem. If you want to hold brake pressure at 80% using the load cell on these pedals, it is just not possible. And, it is it's a pity because I love these pedals, but that kind of makes it hard for me to recommend and say go buy these pedals. So here's my recommendation. If you are considering buying these pedals, make sure that you buy the hydraulic cylinder to make, because I myself have no experience with hydraulic cylinder. I'm just giving you information from what I've seen other YouTubers and other users post on the user groups. And from my understanding is that that does resolve this problem. So, because of that, I say definitely go. If you are considering buying these pedals, also make provisions to buy yourself that hydraulic cylinder. Okay, other than that, listen, I had an absolute blast using these pedals. I'm going to miss this shaky in the back. And yeah, it is just a great set of pedals. Anyway, if you like my reviews, if you want to stick around to see these SIMLABS pedals that I waited like 4 months after paying them in full, but they did send me a free set of gloves, then, you know, subscribe, give this video a like, please. I'm a new YouTuber. It really, really helps me out. And anyway, listen here. I bought another set of pedals from AliExpress. And yeah, I've never ever bought anything off AliExpress. And thought, these are good. However, these actually did look good. So yeah, maybe want to stick around a little bit longer. And as always, I really, really dearly hope that your next race is a winner. Hallelujah.
Hey guy, click on the helmet. Thank you for watching.